And of course, Fox is also following two special elections taking place this week in Pennsylvania and Hawaii. Both will fill vacant House seats. So what can we expect in these races, and how are both parties preparing for the potential outcomes? Let's bring in our political panel. Jason Rowe, a GOP campaign consultant, and Joe Trippy's joining me, a Fox News contributor and former campaign manager for Howard Dean. Great to see both of you.
Good to be with you.
I want to start with you, Jason, because I'm taking a look at these special elections. It's a little bit of a different situation than the primaries because whoever wins does actually get to spend, albeit brief, a time in office before they'd have to run again. So how significant would it be if these seats are taken by a Republican?
Well, I think, for Republicans in kind of taking advantage of the momentum that we're feeling right now, I think it's important that we win at a minimum one of these two seats, but I think it would be a strong signal to the position we're in if we win both. These historically have been not just Democrat seats, but very Democrat seats, and to pick up one or both of them, I think, would be a harbinger of things to come and bad news for the Democrats in November.
Joe, the DNC has spent a lot more of its time, attention, and money on the Pennsylvania special election than Hawaii. They haven't even been on the air with commercials there. So if in Hawaii the Republican wins, what is the strategy then, or I guess it'll ultimately be called spin, on why that might have happened? Would the DNC have to take some blame for that?
I don't think the Hawaii seat matters that much in terms of a signal into Washington in November. I mean, the race there, in these specials, whoever gets the most votes wins, and there are two major Democrats running against one major Republican, and so it is possible for the Republican to win that seat and then to lose it in November when he will have to face a one-on-one situation with a Democrat. The one that I think really is telling will be in Pennsylvania for the Murtha replacement. That if Republicans win that is going to be like Scott Brown winning in Massachusetts. I mean, this is a seat where Democrats got 2-to-1 registration advantage. The fact that it is a tough, close race right now with Burns, the Republican, right on Chris, the Democrat, really tight race, is not bode well. But if Chris pulls it out, I think it says there's some hope in November for Democrats. But if the Republicans win that seat, I think it really spells that this is going to be a very tough year. We already know it's going to be a tough year, but it can become very tough.
Well, Mark Kritz is a former Murtha staffer. So if he doesn't win, then, Jason, is this really a harbinger of what's to come in terms of people voting for change, for a different strategy, even if they're not sure what that strategy in particular might be?
Well, I do think it's important for Republicans not to read too much into the outcomes of what happens this week. At the end of the day, there's not a growing love affair with the Republicans. There is growing discontent. I don't know if it could grow much more than it is with the Democratic agenda in Washington. We have 6 months until the November elections, and so there's a lot that could happen. But there's two important points here. The mood of the country is first anti-incumbent, as we saw with Senator Bennett, Utah, and Alan Mollahan in West Virginia, a Republican and a Democrat. So first, this anger is directed at people that are perceived as part of the problem. And then second, it's a rejection of the Democratic agenda, and so the Republicans are the beneficiaries of that, but we shouldn't read more into that than what it is. We've got to present a message that is compelling to a disaffected, surly electorate, that they can hear a message that is going to resonate, that they see change reflected in what we're promoting.
Joe, in terms of these two special elections, is finishing close good enough for the Democrats?
No, I mean, look, I agree completely. This is first an anti-incumbent year, and then second, because Democrats control the agenda, have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Midterm elections are always bad for the party that has that kind of power. It's going to be, we're going to lose seats in November. I think this is really, there could be psychological blows. So, I mean, if Chris doesn't pull out Murtha's seat, I think that's really just going to demoralize a lot of Democrats out there who are hopeful that they can hold these losses to a minimum. But you see signs all over that the Republicans could lose some of their incumbents as well. I mean, you're seeing Bennett in Utah lose. You're seeing this go across the board. It's anti-incumbent right now, and I don't know that we can read anything else into it other than that.
All right,
that
well,
it's going to be a bad year for incumbents.
at least with these two races, two very important seats. We're going to keep an eye on those. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jim.